Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 221. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky. Hello, sir.
Hey there.
How are you doing?
Good. Hello, listener.
Hello, listener and viewer.
And viewer, yes.
I just realized I didn't put the thing in the other topic, so sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. The tier list that we'll be doing next time.
Correct. Yes, I
so
wasn't sure if you wanted to inform
next
people.
Next week we will be doing a tier list.
And it's a big one.
Yeah, our tier lists are always big fun things.
So
I love doing tier lists.
Probably going to be a full episode, just judging by the looks of it. So
I like doing tier lists because they're super fun, but like there's a lot of premeditation that we have to do. We just did not have time to get ready for this episode.
Yep.
So
one reason or another, that's where we're at. So
anyway, hey, why don't you tell people about Patreon?
I will be glad to do that.
After I talk to you about my beer, I have a Bauhaus Wonder stuff, and it's wonderful.
Okay.
You can say it's wonderful stuff.
It's the stuff of wonder, really. I am drinking an Summit Dakota Soul Craft Lager.
The token Summit that I actually like.
I like a couple of Summit
out of my
beers.
way to buy that, and only that is from Summit, because nothing else I make is good at all. Everything else I make is rubbish.
Oh, that's just like your opinion, man.
No, all their other beers taste like a fart.
This kind of tastes like fart, too. A lot of beers taste like farts.
Yeah, but Summit, like, they're really good. I think that they just take all of their beers, and before they put them in a truck, they just sit them in front of a window for like a month.
This beer's taste works really well with the blueberry muffin smell that's coming in from General Mills.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy about that. It smells pretty amazing.
Amazing.
It does smell like blueberries here.
Blue Bobs?
Blue Bobs here. Smells like Blue Bobs.
Anyway, patreon.com/carbitrage. On this custom website, you will find 2 open-ended levels of support for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. If you join even at the basic $1.50 a month level, you get to buy us a beer, feel good about yourself, join our sweet Discord, get a fancy koozie, and just be in our general good graces. So patreon.com/carbitrage. Head on over. Otherwise, we'll just keep on making the episodes.
So, but when we were off air, I began telling you about this like communication failure I had with Jana. So
over the BQ.
Yeah. So when I was driving the Buick home, everything they say about four-wheel drum brakes being terrible is just as true. Like, you don't understand how it's like using your parking brake to slow down instead of your actual brakes.
That sounds very unpleasant.
Yeah, like, so, like, you know, like, have you ever driven a car where, like, there's a brake hydraulic failure and you have to use the handbrake?
I've used the handbrake for fun, but I've never had hydraulic failure, because I have cars with dual circuit masters and discs.
Like a hydraulic failure being, like, the reservoir has, like, a catastrophic leak, and now all of your circuits are shot.
I've had pedals go to the floor, but, again, there's always the second circuit in this case, so I always have the rear brakes.
Yeah, so this is one where, like, it feels like using just the handbrake. And so... yeah, I was driving the Buick home, and Jana was, like, ahead of me in her van, and I'm, like, giving her a lot of extra space, and she's going, like, 45 miles an hour and a 60. I'm like, Jana, hurry the fuck up. Like, hurry up, honey. I don't want to be putting along at 45. And she's like, I thought the car could only go that fast. I thought there was something wrong with it. I'm like, no, I have four-wheel drums. Like,
I'm keeping my space so I don't hit you.
Like, when they say that you should follow a car with 3 seconds of time between...
that's where that came from.
That is entirely required. Like, it's not like you should. And so, like, I, like, nearly killed myself to get her to speed up to 50 because I had to, like, start tailgating her. And I'm like, I really hope you don't stop for anything. And you have a tendency to just step on your brakes. If you do that, I'm going to be in your freaking front seat if you do that. Because this car is not going to quit. And a car weighs a lot. It weighs more than your van. Like, so, yeah. It's just like, I'm just sitting there like, what? It was like, somebody with a Dodge Dart behind me, like a newer Dart. It was like, just really pissed off that I was going 45. I'm like, I don't want to go 45. Jan doesn't want to go 45, but she thinks I want to go 45. And nobody wants to go 45 miles an hour, ever. So, top tip, if you are ever bringing home a car with four-wheel drum brakes, and the person behind you that looks like they're not keeping up, they're just not trying to kill you. And so, yeah, I had to get Jana to speed up. Also, so because I had to start following Jana closer to, like, get her to, like, go 55 miles an hour, we finally came to a stop sign. I had to, like, swerve and serpentine and end up going around her to stop in time. Because I was, like, maybe 2 car lengths behind her, and her van, like, stopped. And
Well, as modern vehicles do.
Yeah, as a modern vehicle did. And, like, mine's like, no, I'm in 1960s. Stop. However, they did work. The nice thing about four-wheel drums is regardless of the amount of weight you're carrying in the vehicle, they will have the exact same stopping distance.
So it's like the going speed of the 240D when it was diesel. It didn't matter what you had in the car.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like a very torquey vehicle. Like, that has no horsepower. Like, that's what a drum brake is. That's why they put drum brakes on, like, semi-trucks for the longest time, is that the drum brake, because it can absorb so much more heat.
It's a much bigger swept area.
Yeah, it's a much bigger swept area. The pad itself can actually absorb more heat before it overheats. So,
or the shoe. Sorry.
The shoe, I should say. Yeah, same thing. The shoe versus
the
pad.
friction material.
Yeah, the braking material can absorb more heat per square inch.
You said that car is a dual circuit master cylinder, though, right?
I don't know. I think it's single.
Okay. Well, how many pipes come out of the master?
I haven't looked.
Okay.
I've been too busy looking at other things
gonna
that
say-
are more immediately apparent. Because the thing is, I don't have to worry about the brakes until I have the car running to use the brakes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
You're going down the list of things.
Yeah, the brakes are towards the bottom. Yeah,
Okay.
there is
They
cooling
are
system.
currently
There is
functional.
cooling system. There is radio, and then there's brakes because they work at the moment.
Fair.
Actually, I know for a fact they work because they were serviced in 2015.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's why I bought the car. Because the guy, like the previous owner, completely rebuilt the brake system,
Good.
like entirely, because they were daily driving this.
Sounds like they might not have adjusted the drums.
No, it sounds like the drums were working just fine.
Ah.
Because I've driven. It's not my first rodeo with four-wheel drums. Like, that's what they do, and that's why I knew to not tailgate Jana.
I see.
Yeah, it's just she had never driven one that was like that. Because, no, like I like partying. I love four-wheel drums. Like, I've driven four-wheel drums on like Volkswagen Type 2s and stuff. Like, it's a party. It's great.
I just don't know if I agree with. I mean, yes, it's a party.
It is a party.
It doesn't sound enjoyable to me. Listen to that GT350.
No, that was actually a Nova.
What? Oh, it wasn't the same car that went down.
No, that was
okay.
a Nova.
That makes more sense.
But-
It didn't sound very good.
No, I like to party. It'll we all die of something.
That is true.
And sometimes it's sudden and immediate deceleration.
And I bet that car's cheaper to insure than a modern car.
It's so cheap, and Jana's paying for the
And
insurance.
it doesn't make any sense because you are statistically so much more likely to crash that thing.
To die. Well, I think the thing is, like, if you're a crash, you're gonna die. So they're like, well, you can't have insurance pay out if you're dead.
That- That's a fair point. I mean, morbid, but accurate.
I wonder if that.
There's the GT350.
I need to ask Taylor Finger if his what his insurance is on his Volvo.
On the Amazon?
Yeah, on the Amazon, because that'd probably be similar, like, as far as the value of the vehicle, but he's much more likely statistically to survive a car accident than I would be.
Why?
Because the Volvo Amazon is
Oh,
a
okay.
relatively
Alright.
safe vehicle compared to this Buick with, like, four-wheel drums and lap belts.
I understand. It was
'Cause he's
presented
got-
in a strange way.
He's got front discs and 3-point seat
Even my
belts.
1600, which I guess is a whopping 6 years newer than the BQ.
It was a 68?
67.
Yes. It is 6 years newer. I love my Buick. It's so awesome.
BQ.
It's so old.
I would throw discs on it, but I mean that's
No!
just me.
No, yeah. I'm not making it something it's not.
Fine. Okay.
Also, when you look at them, like you have to like look at these drums and go, I want to get rid of these. Like you have to like,
I'm guessing they're quite small.
no, they're huge. They're massive 15-inch drums. Like I got 15-inch wheels on my car, and the drums, there's that much space between the wheel and the drum.
Oh.
And it is there solely for the fins. Actually, look up 1961 Buick drum brake. And you might be able to see what these drums look like. They're like really, like the entire face of them is finned, and they're really pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, see what I mean?
Oh, well, that's probably this one here.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
Oh yeah, hot rod.
You look at that drum brake and you tell me you want to get rid of it. 'Cause
I
that
do
looks
want to get rid of
so
it, and I want to
good.
put this on it. This is.
I don't want that.
Oh, so much
that looks
better.
bad.
Looks so good.
Uh-huh.
And I bet this is cheap too.
Some guy-
$649 for a disc
you
conversion.
you're
That's so
gonna-
offensively cheap.
You're going to put that on, and some guy's going to tell you about how much he loves Metallica, and you're going to have a conversation with him.
No, I would walk away like I do normally.
And he'll follow you.
No, I don't care.
Because that's what Metallica people do.
Uh,
And he'll be like following you behind, and you'll be like not paying attention. You'll see you're behind you, like, give me fuel, give me fire, give me. And it's just awful, awful Metallica people. It's just the worst. You don't want to be around people like that.
I don't.
So, yeah. And when you have drum brakes, even if you are around people like that, you can just kill yourself and you're done.
These are expensive.
Yeah, they're really expensive. I really don't ever want to warp those.
45 fin. Apparently, that's a count thing.
Yeah.
They're $100 minimum for that.
Mm-hmm. I do not want to warp these brakes ever.
Oh, you should be fine.
Yeah, I don't think I will, but I really don't want to. Be very careful with my drums.
Is it a manual brake system? Can you at least put a power booster
No,
on
it's power brakes.
It does have. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's got
Can you
power
imagine
brakes.
what that would be like manual then?
Yeah, I did actually, because after the car died, I had to stop it when it died.
Oh.
So what you do is you put both your feet on it. I'm not exaggerating when you say you stand on it. You put your hands behind the steering wheel.
For extra force.
And you pull up on your steering wheel to push your feet further on the brakes.
So the Bowflex inventor drove a Buick.
Yeah, he drove a Buick.
Oh, okay.
Because, yeah, when the car died at the stop sign, after, like, the car was, like, coasting down, and then, like, because I had to jam on the brakes so hard I couldn't put my foot on the throttle to keep it running, because, like, it was a very oh shit situation. Because I was about to end up in the back of Jana's van. So, like, the car died. I just let it die. I'm like, whatever, I'll deal with that later. Because my more immediate issue is the vehicle in front of me. And so I had to go, like, put my hands on the steering wheel. That's probably why it's a 2-spoke steering wheel, because that's to have the extra strength for when you do this. And you just pull up and you push as hard as you can. And I had to, like, while doing that, go like this to get the car.
You're ruddering the car.
Yeah, I'm ruddering the car to go around Jana. And it was like, when I say, like, I had to go around her, the car, like, I passed her, and the car stopped in the middle of the intersection. Because it was like, it took that long to stop the vehicle.
Yikes.
I wouldn't change it for
You
anything.
got that torquey V8, running through that power glide constantly too, to add insult to injury with the braking. I bet if you shifted it into neutral, you'd cut like 25 feet of braking distance.
Probably, actually. Well, what I did shift it into low gear, so it engine brake a little.
Oh, okay.
So, but
I still have to imagine neutral would be, because I mean the engine is pushing against the brakes constantly when it's running.
It's a really good point. I didn't think about that. Because
Even my 190 in the winter when I had garbage tires on it, I had to put it in neutral, otherwise the fronts would just lock up and the engine would just keep idling me along. I'm like, no. See, no, bad. But yeah, I mean a big old V8 and 4 tiny drums.
not just any V8, nailhead V8, which is like known for being particularly torquey. Yeah.
Yikes. And I mean, an early torque converter too, let's be honest. That's not something that's trying to save efficiency.
Oh no, these were known for being like shockingly like fuel efficient.
Correct.
And
No,
so-
no lockup, no nothing.
So actually, I've been doing research, and the Buick Dynaflow is actually different than the Power Glide with how it works. The Power Glide uses the 2-speed transmission to like be that's the main way of doing it.
Okay.
The Buick Dynaflow uses the torque converter to actually modulate power, and then it actually doesn't shift gears
Is it a
unless you
switch
tell
pitch?
it to. Yeah.
Okay, I think you told me that.
Yeah, it's a switch pitch torque converter. It doesn't. The valve body's actually manual on it.
Cool.
So you have drive gear and you have passing gear. And the passing gear goes up to 60 miles an hour. So that's the low gear, goes up to 60. And it's a switch pitch converter. So you have first gear is like 0 to like 35. And you have 35 to 60 with when you switch the pitch on the converter.
So you're, with the lever you're controlling is the gear ratio and the
you have-
transmission or
you
the
have
converter?
No, you have the converter you control with your foot.
Okay.
And then the gear ratio is actually the lever.
Okay.
It's really, really interesting. So you actually have like super duper smooth acceleration. Almost feels like a CVT when it's in normal drive mode.
Okay.
And then you put it in the sport mode. Low.
Sport mode.
Low. Sport mode. Same thing. I figured out exactly where the CVT idea came from because it was this transmission. Like,
Or the Koenigsegg Regera, I think, where it's just a torque converter.
yeah, it makes sense. Like this is because
If you have torque fill.
I've got 430 pound-feet of torque, and it's what I have is I've got 2 gear ratios. One keeps me in torque, and one keeps me in horsepower.
Mhm.
And I just have an on-off switch basically. It's
If it could keep itself cool, you could just have the cruising mode only, and it would be fine.
actually it does keep it. You literally can. It's just that you put it in passing gear if you're in like a 2-lane highway and you're in a passing lane, and that way you can like really kick it like loose. But I mean, like if you put it in passing gear and you go full throttle from a stop sign, you'll light the tires up like no problem. It's very, very good.
Well,
that's
the beauty of V8s.
It's quite a good. It's this is what people want a CVT transmission to be. You want to be.
What does the T in CVT stand for?
Oh, I guess good point. Continuously variable testicles transmission.
There you go.
Yeah, see CVT, but that's what. God, there's that Nova again. But anyway,
Sure, he's a nice enough fellow, but he's reliving his past, which I will do in about 40 years.
Yes, and we'll be doing that with our weird little cars.
Yeah, E30 M3.
Woo! But yeah, no, every time I drive a CVT, I'm just gonna think this could be a Dynaflow, and this is just much worse.
Yeah, it can't hold power. It's not reliable.
It's not reliable. It's not engaging. Like a Dynaflow is like, you know what, the Tesla, you like to just like let it do its thing.
I like pinning the throttle all the time.
But you like when you're like going home from work, you just kind of like, okay,
boom boom.
Yeah, you just
throw that sucker in autopilot.
You become a vegetable.
Yes.
This transmission lets you do that, but then also goes, actually.
The transmission's like, you're gonna need the rest of your mental capacity to stop.
Yeah.
So we got this.
It's like it's like, actually, I do want to go somewhere abruptly. And then you just have a button that you press, and you're like, haha, all right, cool, now I can go abruptly. It's wonderful. So the Buick Dynaflow, the perfect cruising transmission.
Anyway, I have no segue for this, so I'm just going to go right into it.
No, you don't. I totally ruined it. Actually, no,
your
V8s.
Your car has a V8.
V8s.
This is about V8s.
And you can talk about the beauty of V8s and how they're quickly going away.
Unfortunately, Hyundai Kia is replacing the Tao V8, which has been around since 2007 or 8.
Yeah, it's been around forever.
It originally came to us as a 4.6 in the Hyundai Genesis.
Yes.
And more recently, it's evolved into the Genesis brand. They've bored it and stroked it up to 5 liters. Really good engine. Very similar to the Toyota 3GR SE or whatever.
The current Toyota V8.
Current Toyota V8. They're all the same crap, different displacements. But I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, the twin turbo they have in the Stinger and the G70 is fine, but it's the EcoBoost thing. I mean, you took the V8 out of the F-150 and nobody cared. It's a better engine, but this is in a big old luxury sedan.
The V6 is not a better engine. The Ford EcoBoost V6 is not a better engine. That's a shit pile of an engine.
No, it's pretty good.
It is. Pretty catastrophic reliability issues.
No, actually they don't.
To date, no. Trust me, I've worked in
the early ones are water pump prone.
Every shop I've worked in has had timing chain issues and turbocharger issues with those.
I know. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on maintenance because like our company has a lot of them.
Yeah,
and we have no
it's a maintenance thing entirely. But
well, you're given a redneck
your normal truck. But that's the thing is
twin
like
KO3s.
It also being a maintenance thing is like, yeah, I've got a dumb V8. I just want to put oil in it. Like now I've got this V6 and I got to worry about things.
Yeah, but like the 5.4 wasn't exactly a poster child of reliability.
No. Ford's never been a poster child of reliability.
Adding complexity to the engine is not a good idea for good old boys.
Yeah, but this is not for good old boys. This is like a luxury vehicle. I don't know. I feel weird about this. Because the other thing is, like, when I hear a V6, like, all right.
They sound really bad.
For example, when I see a Maserati Ghibli, you hear the V6 and go, And you hear like a Quattroporte.
Oh, that still has one of the best sounding exhaust notes of all time.
Exactly.
A Quattroporte GTS with the bivalve exhaust.
Yes. It makes a much better noise. It makes a much better noise. That's kind of what I'm talking about. And I feel like when you're buying a luxury car,
yeah,
part of it is the noise. Like, if there wasn't an option at all for... So this is the thing. It's like you have the option of the noise.
I'd rather it be a 3-cylinder than a V6.
Yeah, you're right. Or a 12, or anything other than a 6.
How about this? How about you make a 3.3-liter V8 twin turbo? You have the technology to make it just as efficient.
Yeah, just make it a smaller, more efficient V8.
And we've covered this many times before. But like, don't reduce the cylinder count, reduce the displacement.
I think that it's a very interesting thing, because I feel like that's something that a lot of manufacturers overlook, is how cylinder count can affect the sound of an engine. Like, that's a very important thing.
No, but see, committees have solved that. They pipe in synthetic sound to the cabin.
That's true, but what about the thing is like, you're not buying this to impress yourself.
No.
Nobody's buying a luxury car to impress themselves.
Mm-mm.
You're buying to impress somebody you don't know.
Right.
Like, because if you're buying just a normal car to impress yourself, you get yourself a Camry. You're going to be fine.
And there's something about V8 noise that's just better.
Yeah, and like when you have a Halo luxury brand, you need to have a V8 because you need to be able to make that noise, or a similarly weird off-sounding engine.
Yeah, make it a 5-cylinder turbo then.
Yeah,
It's better than a 6,
that would be better actually. A 5-cylinder turbo would be very cool.
especially
But-
coming from a Korean.
I think the other thing,
Oh, the fender liner is scraping.
I hear that.
The R129 has showed up.
I hear that.
He's going to come swap for the Z8, so...
Of course he is.
I'm encouraging him to use it. He hasn't driven the damn thing.
Yeah, he should enjoy it. Everybody's gonna talk to him.
Sorry, I got to put the screen up real quick. Alright.
Otherwise, he'll drive through it.
No, but I need to simplify things for him because that man door over there just doesn't open nicely.
Yeah, it's true. That man door is horrible. It's pretty funny.
I've emailed the association 3 times to fix it, and they haven't. So,
But yeah, so yeah, with V8, it's like you need it to be there.
right.
Like even if it's like
I agree. I mean, they don't sell these in enough volume where it makes any difference to their bottom
yeah,
line for
like
the CO2 stuff.
you just like have it exist, like a very low production thing.
Right.
It's like yeah, you have to pay every year to do it, but it's like I don't know, you sell plenty of Elantras, you're fine.
They still make a Viper, okay? Well, they don't.
They
but
don't
They
anymore.
did until recently.
Yeah, they did until Fiat tried to make a Viper something. It wasn't. Like I said about cars from back to the 50s, you stop trying to make things that they're not.
I will say
They
the
tried to
final
make-
generation Viper, the 5th gen Viper, is my favorite.
They tried to make it something it's not. It's supposed to be a terrible
It's good to
vehicle.
go. Yep. I'll put the SL away.
It's supposed to be a terrible vehicle. And they made it a not terrible vehicle.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why I don't like it. That's why nobody bought it. Because then you just buy a Corvette. Because a Corvette's totally livable. Viper's
Yeah.
meant to try to kill you and be bad.
I do appreciate a lot about the Viper. I met up with Adam at Proving Grounds. We talked Vipers.
Yeah, they're
I'm like, I kind of get it. And then there was a 2nd gen Viper cart up there too. Somebody,
Cool.
a $4,500 2nd gen that had been sitting outside with no protection for 4.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And they just took the body off of it.
perfect. And it was a 2nd gen, so nobody cared about it.
Correct. Even though I much prefer the 2nd to the 1st.
The 1st gen's the only one I want.
I want zip-in windows.
No, I want an early 1st gen because they didn't even have door locks.
Oh my god.
I know, it's perfect. You had no door locks, and you had a cassette player from a K car. It literally said Chrysler on it.
There was a lot of stuff I didn't notice without like seeing one without a body. Like the fuel injector setup is really dumb. Like the throttle bodies
everything
are
is
this big.
everything on that car is dumb as possible. That's
Mhm.
why I like it.
But it's manual only, which is awesome. It's a massive. Oh, that sounds really good.
It does sound quite good. But
Everyone should go buy a Z8.
so no, it's manual only. It's a dumb vehicle. Like that's why I like it. And like when Fiat tried to make the Viper into like almost like a Maserati-ish sort of thing.
I still really like the 5th gen.
Yeah, but it's not a Viper. You call it something different. But that's the thing is like, it's like the Toyota Supra. Don't call it a Supra. It's not a Supra. Call it something else.
They'd have to come up with a new brand or something.
Just call it something different. Call it the Python. The Black Mamba.
Okay, that'd be kind of cool.
There's so many different snakes that you could name it after.
I'm trying to think of a good snake. They're all terrible. I hate snakes, but
Garden snake.
there you go.
The Boa Constrictor. It's got a tiny throttle body called the Boa Constrictor.
The Boa has 2 constrictors. in
Yes.
fact.
Oh, I'd call
Wow.
it the Boa.
Alright, that's maybe
so
gone
many
too
like
far,
cool
but-
names that you could call it that's not the Viper.
I mean, we've been talking about the death of larger cylinder count stuff for probably since we started the show, like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not against it, but I also feel like with a luxury brand is you need to have.
I could tolerate, and I think they could too, like a 1% efficiency change and just make a smaller displacement V8.
I think that smaller displacement V8 would be the way to go. And also like, if you made it a smaller, if you like completely redesigned and made a very small displacement V8 with like a flat plane crankshaft in it, like you could easily market that into like being like a sportier thing. Like it makes
And if it's
exact
direct
horsepower.
injection, like it will make efficiency too.
Yeah, and it's like the only people are gonna buy it are be people who want a V8. Like it's not like for everybody. Like it's not like this is gonna like totally screw up your emissions.
Yeah, sure.
Like-
Leave this engine in as an option, and the volume people will buy that. But like, don't get rid of the V8 for the people that want the V8, especially when you are up and coming in the luxury brand.
Yeah, this
trying
is a bad
to poach
idea.
customers
This is a really bad idea.
from Mercedes. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, take our V6 Korean car over your V8 twin turbo S class.
Yeah, would you like a Hyundai Entourage engine? Like no, like
Yeah.
No, give me the hot meaty Tau, that old V8 that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Give me that one.
Yeah, you want that. Like, it's a luxury car. Like,
Plus, it's called the Tau. I like that.
yeah, it's cool. Well, all their engines are named after Greek characters. So,
I'm giving you a soft koi thumbs up.
that's irritating. So, I realized that you put in a topic with
Oh,
your
shoot.
name on it, and
Yeah,
now I
no.
don't have a topic, and now I'm all
No,
messed
I
up.
meant to cover these as
Wait
two.
a second. Oh, this is two. Okay.
Well,
But anyway.
This is a companion topic. So
Okay.
briefly,
Anyway.
and it's not confirmed that it's happening to everything yet, but Toyota's ditching their V8s as well,
Yeah, that's been happening.
which is really sad.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Keep it around.
So the UR engines are going
So
away.
this
and we're
is the
getting
thing with Toyota is
turbo
it makes
GRs.
more sense for Toyota to get rid of it because the UR is in everything.
I know.
But like for Hyundai, it was specifically for their Halo
Genesis,
car.
yeah.
Like they made it for one car. And, like, yeah, it's dumb, but you know what? The whole Genesis line's technically dumb. You didn't have to make it, but you chose to make it.
That's true. And to your point, yeah, I mean, everything else has gone twin turbo V6 instead of V8, like the ISF, for instance. But, like, the IS500 just came out. That's using a GR,
Yeah.
or 3UR, sorry. So, anyway, like, that was just a companion topic telling people that not only is it happening in Korea, but it's happening in Japan as well.
So remember when you were talking about Toyota last
Mhm.
episode? And you, like,
talked
just
about them a lot.
off the cuff mentioned maybe, like, use, like, the Celica name or something for the four-cylinder Supra.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason they didn't do that.
Why?
Click on that link. They're going to bring it back as either a hydrogen or an EV.
Oh. Okay. Is it going to be rear-wheel drive?
Don't know yet. I'd imagine
It better be.
it should be.
Oh, there we go. Now we're talking.
All their best ones are rear-wheel drive.
Celica.
But yeah, they're gonna bring it back apparently as a, as it potentially as an EV, potentially as a hybrid. But I
But
mean, they renewed
thought
the trademark on it and everything.
Toyota was allergic to electrification.
So this is the thing, actually. They're not allergic to electrification, but I think that they're putting their time and effort into hydrogen because I think that they're actually going to try and make a play to get that niche market.
Well, I mean,
For-
Honda just abandoned it. They're killing the Clarity right now.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Toyota's
Finally, Mercy killing it, by the way.
I think, yeah, really. I think Toyota's going to keep pushing on that because I think that they're going to be able to have like a niche market of like, yeah, we're going to continue to like do hydrogen for converting internal combustion engines. Later
Research
on.
is good, and they have the resources to do it.
Yeah, they have the resources to do it now, and they can do it, and nobody else does, and they could be like your savior for like if you really want your big dumb hairy V8, like
Or V12 in that case.
yeah, and you can just convert it over to hydrogen after it's illegal to use petroleum, and it'll sound the exact same. It'll
Better
operate,
power.
It'll operate
much
more or
cleaner.
less the same.
Yeah.
So
They've been experimenting with burnable hydrogen fuels for a long time that require no modification to anything.
and so I think that's what Toyota's like doing with their whole hydrogen program. But I think doing a EV with it would be a great idea because that would be actually a good way to get into the EV market. Is when you get in, make a splash, make it an EV sports car.
And they
do the
have
Tesla thing.
and they can. I mean, remember when they shocked? I mean,
They
yeah,
shocked
the,
the world with the
Insight
Prius. Yeah,
kind of beat it to market, but it was worse
yeah. No, it
at
was
doing
worse.
hybrid things, even though it's better because it was manual.
Yes, it was objectively a worse vehicle.
Right, but like
You made a livable hybrid.
they went from nothing to being a global dominant force.
Yes, no, you're right. Yeah, and I think that they could easily do that with either of these. And I think that when Toyota makes an actual EV, it's not just a compliance EV, but they actually put effort into being an EV, like with the Celica. If they did it as a sports car, yeah, they would totally start eating Tesla's lunch.
If they made a Celica convertible EV, just
That'd be
saying.
great. It doesn't even need to be. A convertible EV would be perfect.
Somebody needs to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even if they just made like a competitor to like a two-door competitor to like a Model 3, maybe in price.
Sure.
Like, I think that'd be a good idea, and just like make it a little bit sportier.
Especially with tax credits coming back.
And I think like, or you could do like that weird like kind of Saturn Ion RX-8 thing where you have like a like half suicide door in the back behind the coupe
Oh.
door, so it's effectively a coupe, but
Sure.
it's also a sedan as well for people like you that are allergic to coupes for some reason.
Well, that's a half measure. I'd rather have a 2-door than a 3-door, but I always prefer
Well, and four-door.
doors.
I mean,
Right.
but we have the
Clamshells, I'm meh
yeah,
on.
that's the thing. It's like,
I don't like half measures. I like to fully measure it. I mean, you've seen my garage.
yeah, you have
It's a lot of 2-doors.
an abundance of two doors, but
Because when I have to buy them, I do.
yeah. So, I think they could easily do a two-door sporty EV, and that way they're not directly competing with Tesla, but a lot of people do buy Teslas for the performance. And if Toyota can sit there, make a two-door that's sportier feeling and shit on Tesla, like,
Do it.
yeah, go for it. Like, the thing is, like, Tesla, they can be a better brand because they choose not to, they don't have any competition.
It's coming, but yeah, they've had no competition for so long.
Yeah, that they don't. It's like the Ford Model T. Like,
And-
the Model T did not change for 30 years because they didn't need to.
Yeah, they had no reason to.
Yeah, from like 1913 until like 1930, they didn't do anything with it.
Great.
Yeah, so like
I-
that's Tesla.
Every day that goes by, I like and I never really liked it, but I like the company Tesla less and less.
Yeah. They're such a necessary evil.
I know, and the product is so good, but I just... Anyway, the apologists and just like the blind, fervent supporters, I just can't get behind that. But
Yeah.
no, Toyota, I think, yeah, to your point, they have the power to just throw the world on its axis and just do it right.
Yeah, I think that if Toyota does that with the Celica, again, like I said, with the sports car,
Right.
like, you could really, really do well. Because that's
Look at all
what,
the GR product. You know it's possible.
well, that's how Tesla got big. It was Tesla didn't come like the big thing of Tesla is make it sexy first,
Mhm.
and then you go there. So
And yeah, now it's an aspirational brand.
yeah, now it's
and
a
it's-
sexy thing.
yeah.
Like, and really, it's not a sexy car.
Most of them are very not sexy, yeah.
No, they're not really that sexy. They're cars. They're means of transportation.
Yeah, especially when you compare them to non-EVs.
But like, if you think of what they're known for is like, well, they got known for doing the Tesla Roadster, and
Yep.
then
Which wasn't that great.
no, it wasn't.
My
But it
neighbor
was like
the
cool.
first one in Minnesota to get one. I still very much enjoyed my time in it.
Yeah, it wasn't that great, but it was cool because it was a EV that was as good as a Lotus. So.
Mhm.
Also, Lotus collaboration we totally forgot to talk about last time.
Which
The
one?
Tesla Roadster. It was based off of
Oh,
Lotus
yeah.
Elise.
Oh, I guess Vauxhall too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the VX200 and 220 were on the same Elise platform as the Tesla Roadster.
Yeah, there you go. That's something we totally forgot to talk
Those
about.
are all good too.
Yeah. Anyway,
Just shows it goes to show how good that chassis was. You can add 1,000 pounds to it, and it's still good.
still great.
All right, moving on to a non-news topic, but I finally have a manual transmission in my possession for Blubzki.
What did you source this from, and how did you do it?
So that's a fun story. I was, for a while, researching this. I was talking to the company I bought the transmission adapter plate kit to. They are English second language people, but they said short shaft Mercedes 6-speeds, found in W202s, 3s, 4s, and some E-classes in Europe. I'm like, okay, cool, we have those. So I was looking up, like, a W203 C230.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this will be perfect. 6-speed, short shaft. Found one in St. Cloud.
Perfect.
Like, perfect, nice and cheap. Shipped it down here. Shortly after getting it, I realized that the last year of the W203 C230 06, they went to a 2.6 liter V6 instead of the 2.3 liter supercharged 4-cylinder. So I bought the wrong transmission because 1 year only they had a different bell housing. So now I have to go buy an 03, which I found one again in St. Cloud. I'm like, crap. But luckily these are $200 a piece. It's an interesting transmission, though, because a lot of times when I was shopping around, talking to all these salvage yards, I'm like, I need the shifter, too. It's like, I don't know what sort of weird cable linkage it's going to use or some crap like that. But I got this 06 trans, and the rear portion is the same as
Perfect.
the early 03
So
box.
now it
I have
makes
a
your
spare, at
job
least.
easier now.
There's that, too. It uses the exact same shifter setup as a BMW.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like,
So
the
you just
Mercedes
have
shifter's
those-
really dumb, but like
you
the
have
back
those
of the trans.
readily available.
I do. So I can just, it's clearly made by Getrag.
Perfect.
Clearly made by Getrag. It's got the same layout, but the Mercedes shifter I looked into and it uses 2 cables and a big arm on the top instead of just a rod. I'm like, okay. I'm glad it didn't come with it now, so I knew this. But yeah, I can modify a BMW drive shaft to work with it, all this other stuff. So it'll be good.
Well, I'm really glad you didn't go with how I was going to persuade you, because I was going to persuade you to do a 3 on the tree from column shift.
I
So
still
think
have the
that'd be-
4-speed trans from that car originally. I was like, maybe I can get a bell housing made for that and use
That'd
the
also
original
be
trans.
hilarious. It'd be a 4-speed.
But it's got like the 3 rods in it, and like all the bushings wear out, and it just gets super sloppy. I'm like, I don't want that.
That's the thing about 3 on the trees is there's no bushings or anything.
I know,
Like,
because it has
is-
to be a direct rod linkage, otherwise it
is
doesn't
just
work.
a direct rod. It's great. It works perfectly every time.
I mean, you got to pump them full of grease.
I don't get why people don't like 3 on the tree. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
I
I would love a 7 on the tree. Like, that'd be great. I love column shift. It's my
I was gonna
favorite
see if I
thing.
could pull up just a quick photo to show you the actual transmission, but the last year they went to like a much more rounded bell housing, and I'm just like, dude, nobody told me that. So
Oh yeah, look at that. I saw that bell housing. Yeah, it was like ovally.
it's like a perfect circle. But the C230
Well,
four-cylinder
I
one,
mean, like as it's not like squared off or anything. Like they just made it as round as possible.
okay, I don't know what I'm doing wrong to this, but anyway, yeah, it's completely round, and the 230 4-cylinder has a much more conventional inline bell housing, where it's got a big starter burr on the one side, and then it's got like the two prominent bolts on
And
the
this
top
one
right
doesn't.
below the
Where the hell
cylinder
does the
head.
starter go?
The starter goes, it's got the dual ears, like a
Okay.
V6 or V8, but like this fits every single V6 Mercedes made after 2005.
So
I'm
it sounds
okay.
like you need to put a V6 into something dumb.
The engine management, I just don't even know. I'm gonna have to do
Yeah, sorry,
standalone.
something dumb. You can make a manual R class.
I could.
No.
I can make a manual R350 with this.
You could just. You got to find yourself a really, really, really cheap R350.
I mean, I'm gonna keep the trans, obviously. 'cause
Yeah,
it was $200
It's
delivered after
$200,
tax.
and you now have the ability to make something hilarious, and it's all cable. It's entirely cable, so you can totally do it in R class.
Well, I mean, I would do mechanical linkage, but yeah, the Mercedes linkage you could adapt.
You could just make a much bougier version of my minivan.
Oh God, I could.
You really could do it, dude.
And
And they're so cheap.
And the 722-9, if they're not serviced, they do blow up. So that'd be interesting.
You could totally do that, and you can get like a really cheap R350 that's had the transmission grenaded. You don't get a first year, so it doesn't have the timing chain.
It
You
might
get
even be
a-
the first 2 years.
You get like the latest model you can with a blown-up transmission.
Oh my God.
That'd
or
be a
just
great-
cold start it to make
That would
sure.
be a really, really great vehicle.
But like, there's a ton of stuff. Anything that's a
Yeah, but you
250,
gotta do
a
the van.
300, a 350, a 450, a 550.
And there's so many worse form factors than minivan that are included here.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
nobody-
No, the R class is a
nobody,
great vehicle.
Nobody has a manual R class.
No.
You could have the only manual R class.
Can you imagine how much the computers would freak?
It would be hilarious. It would be a great vehicle.
No
You
more
could- you could
all-wheel
make-
drive.
You don't need it to be all-wheel drive.
No more
You'd
manual.
make it better.
Oh, it'd be so much better. You kidding me? A rear-wheel drive
A
manual
rear-wheel drive
R class?
manual R class. It'd be a perfect vehicle. I think you should do that.
Maybe in the future someday. I'm sure I'll have this transmission sitting in my garage for like the next 20 years.
Yeah,
so.
you'll have it. You have that for life now.
But the beauty is, like I said, it was $200 delivered to my shop after
yeah,
tax.
it costs
so
nothing. It's free.
whatever.
It's like the carburetor we're about to buy today because I'm sick of dealing with this one. It's gonna be free. Like the most expensive carburetor I'm looking at is like $400.
Oh
okay.
no, that ruined my day.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. There goes my discretionary spending income for like doing stupid things I want to do with this paycheck.
Oh my God.
I guess I won't build a garden or something.
That's my alternative.
Yeah, that's an alternative.
Should I do a garden or should I have a carburetor?
I actually do need to finish building my garden. I'm sick of mowing my lawn, so I'm gonna replace it with plants. So
That's fair.
yeah,
Wilding.
yeah, I'm wilding. Well, because all my other neighbors have done that. Like I'm like one of three people on my block. Not three. But I feel like I'm one of three people on my block that actually has a yard, and I'm like, I don't want this. It's worse for the environment, and it's more labor. This is stupid. And there's like 100 different breeds of grass in my the previous owner just put down random like grass seed. It didn't like match it up, so like different parts of my lawn grow at completely different rates.
Oh, great. Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's fun.
Oh, it's disgusting looking. It's awful in every way. I planted some daisies, and the daisies died during the heat wave. I'm just like, I got these dead daisies here, and I got this like overgrown lawn. It's like all patchy. It's really bad. It sucks. So
Anyway, buy a carburetor instead.
yeah, I'm gonna buy a carburetor instead of dealing with that. Anyway,
Perfect.
I want to, speaking of automotive technology that's just antiquated carburetors.
We have talked about a lot of these things.
There's a lot of them that could make comebacks. I was wondering, what is your favorite like antiquated automotive technology that needs to make a comeback?
Can I say manual transmission?
No, because
Clutch type limited slip differentials.
Here's a good one: vacuum operated power windows.
I disagree.
I like how they operate.
I do too, but it's a bad idea.
I like how fast they go, and like totally silently. You don't have to hear them. They just go whoop, and then like they're there. And it's like a guillotine.
I can't agree on that
That's
one.
fair. That's totally fair. That's a weird one.
I'm going with clutch type limited slip differentials though.
That is
I'm
a good
sick
one.
of this brake biasing bullshit.
Yeah, actual limited slip differentials do need to make a comeback. That's a very, very good one.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff.
You know what's another good one? designing your valve cover, like making it look okay.
How about metal valve covers?
I don't care if it's plastic. It can be a plastic valve cover. It needs to be designed to be looked at.
I think
don't-
valve covers need to be metal.
They should be metal, but I also am willing to I'm willing to, give and take here, because I don't want an engine cover. I want to see a valve cover,
Yeah.
and I would like to see an aesthetically pleasing valve cover.
I agree, but I think in order to really do that, you do have to make them out of not plastic.
Not necessarily. I mean, Subaru makes actually surprisingly good-looking valve covers on the sides of their engine, and they cannot put a plastic cover over it, so they have to design them to look okay. They aren't great-looking, but I mean,
I guess we have powder coating technology now that can do plastics.
yeah, you can totally do that. You
Alright,
can
fine.
even do, a colored plastic or something.
Wow, racist.
But, you can do, all sorts of cool things. So I was just when it's back to the 50s, I'm just all these valve covers look rad. They're all very simple. They're just covering up a rocker arm. That's all they have to do. But, I was looking at, Buick nailheads. I'm like, this is something that they... can you look up a Buick nailhead valve cover?
Sure.
So, I was looking at these, and, the stock valve covers are entirely utilitarian. But they look beautiful.
'cause
I
they're
see a lot of
finned.
finned ones. No, they're not finned from the factory.
These?
Those are factory.
Okay.
All right, go back.
Apparently
Look
we're
up
told-
factory. Just type in factory ahead of it.
Sorry.
You're putting in more effort not typing in factory.
Is a dipstick technology?
They still have just a bunch of finned ones. That's stupid. Look
That-
at 1960 Buick 401 nailhead valve cover. That's a good way to look at it. But
Is the internet dead or something? No,
no,
we're good.
No, you're just using
What the hell is that terrible noise?
It is a Cushman Indian trike.
Oh, okay, that guy's actually pretty nice.
All right, for some reason you're not able to see them, but there's that little one that was in there,
I mean-
right there, with the air cleaner on the engine, right there. That's what they should look like.
Bless you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
this one actually loaded properly.
So this is a valve cover that was entirely utilitarian. They did not put much effort into it, but I'm just saying, the smallest amount of of effort to look at the valve cover.
And look at this little shield underneath too for the ignition wires.
Fun fact, that's actually there because those ignition wires, if they do touch other pieces of metal, that's actually a that doesn't have any grounding source to it. There's rubber gaskets on it, and the valve cover or the spark plugs will actually short out if they touch metal. It's a weird 50s thing.
Is it a positive ground car?
No, they were originally, yes.
Huh.
But no, they were non-shielded spark plug wires for the longest time. And when you got the
Oh,
radio,
sure.
then
Yeah,
you'd
yeah,
have
yeah.
a shielded
Okay.
spark plug wire
Yep.
as an option.
Oh my god.
It was really weird. But anyway, yeah, those valve covers, it doesn't need to be super ornate. It doesn't need to be a Rover D series valve cover where it's a piece of artwork and belongs in the Smithsonian. It could be so simple, just a piece of stamped metal that just yeah, I got a couple little curves here and a couple little curves here, and that's it. And it looks aesthetically pleasing.
And it should say DOHC on it again.
That'd be very cool if it said that.
Four valve.
But then you're getting to things that actually cost money. That was an example.
You
that
cast
was
that into tooling, it's fine.
that was one where it took zero effort to make that valve cover, and it looked great.
I want dipsticks to come back.
Dipsticks are huge.
Also
yes.
drain plugs. I would love it if they bring drain plugs back.
What doesn't have drain plugs in?
Almost every German car's differential or transfer case. No more drain plugs.
How do you...
You suck it out of the fill plug.
That's pretty dumb.
I hate that.
That's really bad.
And they need fluid servicing.
Oh, boy.
So mine are going to be really simple like that, but I really am I'm a huge fan of clutch type limited slip differentials. Manual is a given, whatever, but even just port fuel injection. I understand it's way worse and way less efficient, but the simplicity of it is really nice.
You what I like? Something that's totally gone away? Designed, aesthetically pleasing analog gauges.
Oh yeah, analog gauges. Bring those back.
Well, they're there, but they just suck.
They're going away.
If you look at a 61 Chrysler New Yorker as the coolest analog gauge bezel I've ever seen.
Look at 60s Mercedes gauges.
This one's even so I like the bar type one on
I hate
those.
that.
Yeah, I know you hate those. I love those.
That's fine.
I found one's even more wild. So on the late 50s, early 60s Chrysler Mopars, all of them really, they had a globe
That's really cool.
It was a quarter of a globe, and all of your gauges are in that. So at the edge of the horizon, you had your speedometer, and then below the horizon, physically closer to you, you had 2 gauges that are for coolant and
fuel
or something. And then below that was a chair.
I
Below that, you had your amperage and you had your oil pressure below it. And then, along the bottom, if you had an optional tachometer, you have a tachometer that would go like this. But it would also, do it in, 3 dimensions. It was so weird.
I mean, that's arguably as cool as their older deco gauges.
Yeah, it's really, really, exactly that. But it's just, cool things like that. Take some, weird chances on stuff.
Well, I think that's what manufacturers are doing now. I mean, they're taking a weird chance by going full LCD and doing unorthodox
and that's
shapes.
The thing, then you have your cheap car. It sucks. And, you know what? You're going to judge on your cheap car. So make your cheap car cool. You don't... It does not take any more effort to put your tachometer in front of your speedometer, on the Fiat.
Oh, yeah. That's a great design.
Yeah, that does not take any extra effort compared to just having a plain speedometer, plain tachometer.
The later DigiDash 500s suck because it's just the tack is this little bar on the side.
Oh, that's dumb.
I'm like, ugh.
That's not good.
No.
I don't like that.
No, the DigiDash 500s are not great.
Yeah, so, there's so many...
Analog
things.
gauges. I'm gonna
You can just... I think that creative design, would be a good idea to go with. Because, you can totally do these things while, because, you know what? You do have all these, rules and regulations you have to get around, but you can still design around those.
Right.
It's just, it's... Yeah. I feel like if
it's
you...
a box shirt.
If you just cop out and just, throw in a, here's your tachometer, here's your speedometer over here, and it's white lettering on a black gauge.
we read the rules
with a white needle, and it's I'm just imagining a stock, a base model Mitsubishi Mirage instrument cluster, or a Veo instrument cluster of any trim level is a perfect example.
What about a Dacia Sandero?
Sure,
really
that sounds just as bad.
That's pretty. Bad. It's pretty horrible.
Look at those. I'm you didn't even try. You totally copped out. You didn't do anything.
There's cost cutting and then there's just being dumb.
Yeah, it's just being lazy. It's not dumb. It's just lazy.
I think it's hand in hand for me.
It's not being dumb because it makes sense. Fine. But I don't know. I feel just taking the little bit of effort. It's I don't know. It's playing Halo on hard instead of on medium. It's not that much worse.
True. It's not legendary.
But you look a lot cooler when you do it. Nobody cares that you beat Halo on medium, but if you beat it on legendary or on hard, then you're we're talking.
I don't care either way, but yes.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's nothing to brag over if you beat it on medium. So
I go easy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nothing to brag over.
Oh.
So
yeah,
anyway.
I suck at video games. So. All right. Talking about old technology and new technology.
Yes.
So Hagerty hired Jason Camisa, who I really like. He's an automotive journalist that's worked at, probably every single outlet in California. But right now, like I said, he's employed by Hagerty, and he got an M3 and an M4 press car, the new buck-teeth disgustingness cars.
Gross.
And I found more and more, as you know, I watch everything with subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more outlets are having an actual employee write the subtitles, and they're putting a bunch of Easter eggs in there. And the whole thing is they didn't mention the looks of the new car at all, but in the subtitles it was just constantly ripping on it over and over and over again. But anyway, this review was old Top Gear quality, really good. It started with the 190 E2.316. It told you everything about it. Then it brought in the E30 M3 to explain why these models came to be. Then they raced a Euro 2 316 and an E30 M3, which they claimed to stock and wasn't, or on Rumbling Road. The 2.316 Euro was faster than the E30 M3 around the track, both on the same tires, which was fascinating. But then they went up to the new G chassis M3. I haven't bothered to learn the code because I don't care. And what was interesting is, I'm glad they didn't talk about the looks, they said that the powertrain is obviously incredibly impressive as far as how it delivers power, but they didn't care because it was boring. But they said it was the best chassis in an M3 since the E46. Which I thought was fascinating because I didn't really like the E90 or the F80 chassis that much.
Yeah, to me, all right, so you have to understand my entire, caring of 3 Series died with the E46.
Yeah, and
I get that. I get that the E90 is great, but to me that's it's an EP3.
Yeah,
it's okay.
This is a fatter car. Great.
Cool.
I like the F80.
I'm sure it's wonderful. I don't care.
It's a good car, but yeah, the E46. It's damn.
Like I like Mr. Wags because it's like,
Oh, he's a good boy.
it's a manual rear-wheel drive wagon. That could be literally anything. I would like it for the same reason.
Even Tucker likes that thing.
I like that car in the same way like a Volvo 240. I like it because of what it is. I don't particularly have any great affinity. Like it's not there's some cars. There's some cars where if I see an automatic version, I will still get excited. That's not a car where I'll still get excited. I get excited.
Same thing with the X-Drive badge.
Yeah, like it's the fact that it's a manual rear-wheel drive wagon. It's that. If it was a manual rear-wheel drive sedan, I don't care. Sorry, Corey.
Kurt will sleep at night. It'll be fine.
If it was an automatic rear-wheel drive wagon, if it was a manual all-wheel drive wagon, if it was any other variation of that, I don't care.
Right.
It's just that.
Yep.
But yeah. Anyway.
No, I'm just looking at it from the perspective of like, it's the last. I know I'm so burnt out, like every other person who talks or writes about cars. Like it's the last of its type or whatever. Like sure, it's the last combustion M3 we'll ever get, but like who cares? I'm like sure, it's a great chassis, but who cares?
Yeah.
I'm like yeah, it's offered with a manual. I actually really like that. But as long as they come out with an aftermarket bumper at some point, like a stock non-competition M3 sedan manual is still going to be a great car to live with. But there are so many qualifiers to that. You could go get something else that's just ready to go.
Can you type in 1974 Pontiac GTO? Specifically, it has to be a 1974 GTO.
All right.
This is the last car.
Man.
This is the last production vehicle with a functional hood scoop. Do you care about that?
Not really.
Okay. There you go. Just because it's the last of something doesn't mean it's important. It's also the cheapest GTO can get. That's actually my favorite GTO. But
It's the same argument with just because it's rare doesn't mean it's good or valuable necessarily.
I also happen to like this because I genuinely like that body style. And
It looks small because it's from the 70s.
It is small.
Yeah.
Actually, because they made this smaller. But yeah, it's like the last production car with the hood scoop. But okay. Like, even me saying that as somebody that likes that car is like,
Cool.
it's the last car with the production hood scoop?
Well, it's like, hey,
Alright.
this is my 1994 Jeep Wagoneer. It's the last car sold in the United States with a carburetor.
Okay.
Cool.
It's not that good.
No.
There's a reason it was the last.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm not going to lie. The hood scoop actually made a massive difference in performance. But anyway.
We're talking a Malaise American car. I have no doubt that it made a significant difference.
It was like a 20 horsepower difference. And like a car has 130 horsepower normally. Having 150 is very noticeable. So yeah, it's actually a noticeable difference.
Oof. Oh my god. But I applaud BMW only for putting a manual in it. The rest of it I just don't care. But I'm coming back to the film because it was so well produced.
Yeah.
And it touched on so much of like the heritage of the car. It was like he made the most of talking about something that nobody cares about.
Top Gear was very good at doing that.
But this is Hagerty.
Yeah, I know. It's the same thing though. But I mean, like, I know what you mean. We're a very well produced thing. It will make me care about it.
I
And
watched
that's
the
actually
whole thing. Even though I hate the car.
that is actually the key to good automotive journalism is if it makes you care enough to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like that's important.
Yep.
Like
And they did that.
anybody can write facts about a car, but making somebody actually read the thing or watch the thing is actually more important. Because there's a reason I don't watch Doug DeMuro. Because it does not intrigue me.
No, God no.
Yeah.
That's just how it's delivered. I'm like the fact like if I just read the script along with the videography, I might actually be interested. Maybe, but the toothpaste and the Maserati Ghibli door panel gap, that was still pretty good. The one other thing I want to say about this, he claimed the E30 M3 was stock. It wasn't. It was lowered, and they were running into bump stop issues on the track because of it. And he said that the 190 E 2.316 was stock, and he's not wrong, but it's a Euro import car, which has 40 more horsepower than the American one.
Perfect. You don't need to talk about that.
Just want to get that out of the way.
You don't need to talk about that.
It's fine.
You
I
just-
love the 2.316. I do. It's a great car.
I think anybody that talks about 2.316, even if it is one, I don't give a shit if it's got
No,
a turbo on it.
the American
you
one-
just- you lie to people. You tell them how freaking awesome that car is because that car needs all the clout in the world they can get because nobody respects that car enough.
Well, the E30 the E30 M3 is a better car, but the
yeah,
190
okay.
is cooler.
Yeah, it's a great car. But that's the thing is like nobody gives the Corolla FX16 the time of day because it's not a CRX.
Correct.
But you know what? Is the Corolla FX16 it slaps. It's such a great car. Like if you have $3,000 and you're looking for a 90s hatchback and you're not getting an FX16, you're a fucking idiot. Like, what are you doing? Buy that car. Like, it's such a good car. It's so amazing. But nobody cares because it's not a CRX. And it's
that's so
good.
Oh, man.
But, like, that's exactly what the 190 2.316, it's a Corolla FX16. It's just underrated in every way. And
Although they're getting expensive now, so people have figured it out.
there's no reason on earth that a 190 2.316 should be a penny less than a E30 M3. They should be dollar for dollar the exact same car. Like, they are that good together. And you get the 2.316 because you need a sedan. Like, you need the sedan.
Yeah.
It's the only reason you get the 2.316. It's because you add the 2 doors to killer. That's the only reason that, like, that's the only thing that should change because they're both perfect. They're absolutely wonderful cars.
I had a 2.316, and it was a great car.
They're great. They're just like, they're absolutely underrated, and it's a crime that they're not worth as much as they should be.
Yet. They are
You
rapidly
should
appreciating.
absolutely buy one right now.
If you can find one for reasonable money, yeah.
So, speaking of buying cars,
Okay.
I was talking in my happy hour meeting with a coworker,
Okay.
and here is actually a very good car buying advice segment.
Which we will debate about.
Yes, buyer is looking for a replacement for a Mark 6 GTI.
Manual, 5-door, 3-door.
Manual. I don't know if it's a 3-door or a 5-door, but it is a manual. It has to be a manual.
Good.
They got it for really cheap, and it's
Wonder why.
it's not been cheap for them. So
Thank you, TSI.
basically the prerequisites are it needs to be a manual. It's going to be daily driven,
Okay.
so it has to be at least more reliable than a GTI.
Shouldn't take much. Okay.
Relatively fuel efficient,
Okay.
and most importantly, has to be as fun as a GTI.
What's the budget?
So he's open. Let's say that. You can afford things. Not new, but it has to be used. But you can probably...
Veloster and CPO.
Ooh, that's a good one. A Veloster N. Did not think about that.
Those
Would
are,
would
those are
that be
real
as
good.
reliable? It can't be any worse.
No, the engine's been around for a long time, and those were manual only at that time. So
Yeah, it couldn't possibly.
those are real good.
That's a very good option, actually. I, as always, said, well, if you're not looking at Mitsubishi Mirage, you should.
Okay, well, yeah,
yes,
I don't.
Everybody should.
I don't
but-
have a gut feeling of like what this person's actually gonna buy. Because like, let's be honest, you're not cross shopping a Mirage with
anything.
right.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
buying
Yeah.
that out of
You're just
necessity.
buying a Mirage.
You're just buying. That's your vehicle you're looking at is a Mirage.
I did like Kua's Mirage.
I
PG.
did actually say a Mazda 3.
Yeah.
Not a Mazda Speed, but a Mazda 3.
2.5.
Or a 2.3, it doesn't matter. I mean, both of them are good.
A newer one.
A 2.5 is going to have way more horsepower. I think that an older 2.3, the difference in price kind of makes it up. The person's sort of mechanically inclined. They don't have a garage, so they do have a driveway and live in California. That's another thing. They live in California.
I kind of figured.
Yeah.
Because you were recommending a Mazda.
Yeah. And that is the killer's Rust.
Yeah, but like you can get. I've looked at this because I recommend this a lot. But a Grand Touring 2.5 newer body style Mazda 3, you can get them for like 16, 17 grand, even now.
Very good car. Yeah.
With a
very,
manual.
very good car.
Very good car.
As I say, a 2.3. A 2.3 costs you $5,000 for the best one in the world.
But the interior is not going to be up to what he's used to on a VW.
That's true. It's going to be a lot more reliable, and everything's going to be much cheaper to maintain.
Sure.
And if you want to,
his budget.
yeah, and like if you really want to like save some money on that, like you get that car and you just go to Racing Beat, you get some Racing Beat soy bars, and you have a great car.
Yep.
And it's going to be a blast. It's going to be free to maintain. It's going to be a free car. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I would say
Mazda 3 is a good car.
if he didn't live in California, I would say a 2.3 because they're just so cheap to maintain. However, yeah, the 2.5 is really that's your power play.
I don't know what a used Veloster N CPO is going to go for. It's probably in the low to mid 20s.
You know, another good one actually is a Focus ST,
Yeah.
but horrible interior ergonomics.
I'd say Fiesta ST over that.
Yeah, Fiesta ST, but getting a little small.
Yeah.
So I'd say a Focus or a Fiesta ST. But with the caveat that those have atrocious rear visibility.
But they're also real cheap.
Real
They've been
cheap.
around a lot longer.
Really cheap, atrocious rear visibility.
Yep. Yeah.
awful interior ergonomics because the interior is designed to look ergonomic, but not be ergonomic.
And those are the 2.0's a reliable engine. So yeah, that's a good call.
I think that'd be another good one. So I'd say
Might be happy medium.
if the Mazda 3 doesn't keep up for your expectation,
For interior quality.
For interior
or if the
quality.
Blaster's too expensive, get a Focus ST.
or if you just couldn't find a Veloster.
oh, you'll be
and-
able to find those.
But I think like just because the Fiesta ST is readily there, Focus Fiesta, same thing. A Ford ST hatchback,
Yeah.
a ST hatchback, you'll find them anywhere. They're
Yeah.
so readily available compared to everything else. That is a belly button of a car. So such a good car.
Get one of those three.
I think that's your
Mazda
pick.
3 with a manual. Don't care if it's 2.3, 2.5, or a Veloster N if you can afford it. Otherwise, get a happy medium Focus ST or Fiesta ST.
Yep. I think that the Veloster is a good decision, but again,
That's a really good
It's a
car.
very good car.
It's a really good
I'm actually
car.
I'm gonna message him after we're done here and check. Actually,
And you can get that awesome blue.
it's a good
Me,
blue.
that's like the best.
How
blue.
much are they? Like,
I don't. Let's. You know what?
yeah,
we have the
let's-
internet.
Yeah, we have the internet here. Let's see how much.
Veloster N. Okay, that's not what I wanted at all. Veloster N for sale. Do 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 do. Wow. Can I mention that I really hate trying to find?
You also use the worst internet browser for finding things.
I don't know what I'm using. None available. Okay.
So this is kind of why I said Fiesta, Focus ST.
Nah, I think this is a website problem.
How much are they? Oh my god.
It's just trying to find local ones for me, and I don't care. Oh my god.
Just go TrueCar. Go on TrueCar.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. So you're on TrueCar. What?
26.
Okay, so like 26 to 30. It's gonna be a little more, I think. So I think premium high end would be a Veloster N. You can go by price.
I know, I'm just kind of seeing what the mean is.
The means
The mean's like 28, 29, but yeah, there's 26 right here. Just go get this. If you can afford it. If not, it's 10 grand cheaper for a Mazda 3 2.5. It's like 20 grand cheaper for a 2.3, or it's 10 grand cheaper for an ST.
I would go 10 grand cheaper and get an ST.
I think
to
I
be
probably
honest.
would
I
too.
think that'd be it.
But I think you should drive one of these.
Yeah, no, those are quite good. If
only
you
got
have
$15,000
$30,000 if you have $30,000 to spend on a car, Veloster N. But if you don't have $30,000, you're closer to $20,000. You have you pick. I mean, do you want just all out handling and not able to go up a hill and accelerate, or do you want to be able to like just overpower yourself through a hill and possibly like fling yourself off a canyon?
Well, and that's going to be something
Focus.
that he's going to have to decide. So.
Yeah, so I think having those two options is good. And then if you want cheap, like if you really just need bottom of the barrel, Mazda 3, like that is.
I still would really push for the 2.5 just because it is
Yeah.
a much nicer. That newer generation car is significantly
Much better.
more worked out.
Much
but-
better, yeah. Also, why I'm not saying the Mazda Speed 3 is
Oh,
they
God.
have worse interiors.
Zoom, zoom, boom.
And also, every single one has been put away wet for its entire life. Like, they are.
And hidden issues galore.
Mazda Speed 3s. One second.
A clean one of those in the future?
A clean I've never seen a clean one.
No. Mazda Speed 6s sometimes survived, not 3s.
Yeah, and with 3s, it's like they were. I can't think of a car that's more beat up consistently than that. I think that might be the most consistently beat up car. Like a Subaru WRX is like the equivalent for how clapped out they always are. Because you never find them
Yeah.
with a clean tire.
Or a 350Z,
Well, you can find automatic 350s sold by grandmas.
I guess.
But like a WRX, is just every single one's been destroyed. And every single Mazda Speed 3 has been destroyed. So you just get a normal Mazda 3 and you're fine.
So it looks like even a fairly high mileage Focus ST first year is still like 15 grand.
God, that's
So
a good deal.
I think I'd go with the 2.5 Mazda 3 Touring over that at the same price. Even though it's not as hot. It's a much nicer car to live with.
I think that's going to be closer to a GTI.
Oh, it's way closer to a GTI.
Yeah, a Focus ST it's a good car, but the thing is, you have to be seen and afford.
But if he's
which is like-
dailying it and he cares about keeping it relatively longish termish, and you wanna, I mean, let's be honest,
The other-
this
the
car
other
has
thing is-
100,000 more miles on it than
you
that
also,
Veloster.
this is another thing I just thought about, is you have to be seen and afford. You have to say, I drive a Ford Focus.
I would get a Veloster in, because everyone likes those.
Yeah, nobody dislikes the Veloster in.
However, nobody's gonna notice you in a Mazda 3, but nobody hates them.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, it's Camry flage. Like, you can get a V6 Camry and nobody will see you breaking the speed limit. You can go 100 miles an hour, nobody will care.
As long as you don't kick it down.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna notice that your V6 Camry is like blasting on the highway at twice the speed of the rest of traffic because it's a Camry. It'll be
Hearing
like,
intake honk out of a V6 Japanese sedan or minivan is strange.
it is very strange.
Like somebody's booting that thing. They must be in danger.
So I think that's actually our top tip should be just to get a Sienna.
No. I mean, I'm all for getting a minivan, but not in this case.
But
especially if he lives
why?
in California. It's too big.
Okay.
I don't know what's in the air right now, but both of us
Yeah.
are itching our noses like crazy.
My allergies have been killing me for the last month.
I'm going to go get a
Nonstop.
Veloster, and
I'm gonna go
If
with
you can afford it.
I'm gonna go with the Mazda. So there we
Okay.
go.
All
There's your top tip. There you go. All right. Talk to you next week. Bye.
bye.